Rule 42. All persons more than a mile high must leave the court immediately.
1, 2, 3, 42.
Today's rule is rule number 20. Don't be sorry. Be better.
I'm the girl Audrey with Rule 42, and we are talking to Daqwan Smith today.
Yes, we are.
He is currently working through World Cup in Chappaqua, doing privates for anyone looking to get into...
Anyone looking to work, I am willing to work with you.
Yeah,
Wait, we got to say what it's
Tumbling. It's tumbling. You're just like, I'm working with you, but you don't know what you're working.
If you want to learn how to tumble, if you want to learn how to stunt, if you want to try to help get yourself back in shape, if you want to do anything active, I'm the guy to help get you better. You know?
And I absolutely attest to that because Daqwan has been around with our family, or with my family at least, since my 16-year-old.
For a while.
Yeah.
12 years.
We're like family now.
12 years.
It's been so long. Oh my God.
I've known you as long as I've known my ex.
Yeah, right? Like, sometimes I look back and I'm like, wow, that much time has passed by. But, yo, when you're in the gym every day, time just...
It flies.
It flies.
You're never... Okay, so we're going to open up and we're going to let everybody know. So as we've discussed before, Jen and I have daughters in the all-star cheerleading industry. My daughter cheers down in Florida at Top Gun. Jen's daughter cheers up in Connecticut at USA Wildcats. And Daqwan has worked with both of our daughters before, previously at a gym in Greenwich, Connecticut. So Day was instrumental in getting my 16-year-old to where she is right now in terms of her tumbling. She is considered a tumbler where she is. She's on a level 5 team at a very prestigious program. And he worked really hard to get her there. So I can definitely attest to his ability to work with your kids. I also have my 9-year-old who's moving down to Florida to join Top Gun as well. And she will be on one of their teams. And he's worked with her over the years. And it is a challenge, to say the least. And the fact that he was able to get her to even do anything... I
love Mia.
Him.
I love Mia.
So
he's a funny kid. You gotta be able to meet them at their level. Actually, before I even thought about anything cheer related, all through middle school, I did football, basketball, I ran track, and I remember, I was so excited to try out for my football team. I was in 8th grade going into high school. I was so ready to be on the freshman team. And like the day before I was supposed to try out, I'm at my cousin's house. I'm like running routes in the back. And you know how trees will like have the roots that like come out and that are just like giant? So yeah. I cut left and then like spun to try to go right and then just like tripped over this giant root, and then my ankle was done. And when I tell you, I probably cry. That's probably the most I ever remember crying, like in front of other people too. The coach at the high school, a bunch of my older cousins previously were on his team, and you can kind of say they were on the troublemaking side. So when he knew that, like, oh, you're related to them. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry, buddy. So my dreams of being the football star in high school went out the window. I remember that same day, one of my boys who was on the cheerleading team that I had no idea he was on the cheer team. And he's like, bro, just come with me to practice. We'll hang out, blah, blah, blah. Don't stress it. I'm thinking that he meant track practice because we also ran track together. So,
wait a minute, is this your boy that works at the YMCA?
Yes. This is Alex.
My daughters
Alex.
actually work
Yes.
too.
Yes. 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 So he's been my best friend literally since the first grade. So when I found out that he was cheering and that he's done gymnastics already in the past, I was kind of angry because I'm like, bro, like, we could have been doing this together this entire time. Like, you didn't have to keep it a secret. But whatever. So long story short, I go to his practice. I see him do a round off handspring tuck. And I'm just like, bro, I need to learn how to do that. And then from there, like, the rest is history. Once my ankle healed up, even with the sprained ankle, I was still going to his practices, like watching how they stunt, watching how everyone tumbles. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh my God, like all these people from my school that I would have never spoken to, like, you could do all this cool shit. I need to get down with this squad right here. And then from there, 9th grade, stayed on my cheer team around my senior year. Started working for one of the guys who used to come in and tumble us. And then from there, I was with him for like 3 years. And then that's when I started working with Ann. And then I was like, oh, this is like one place where I can go to instead of driving to like 17,000 places. Yeah, I'll take that. And then, yeah, I ended up falling in love with the gym. And yeah, the rest is history.
But wait, let's go back. So you're in 9th grade, and now you go from football, where it's it's manly, it's macho. Then you go to cheers. Everyone like, yo, pause. Like, what? How did
Let
they?
me tell you, I remember, this is when MySpace was out. I remember going through every single one of my friends and being like, hey, listen, I'm about to start cheering. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I had one message, and I literally
Copy and paste.
to everybody.
Hit that
Like,
top 9 quickly.
Let them know before it even got out. And then I'm like, there would be times where, of course, dudes would be like, oh, that shit is gay. That shit is gay. And then all I would say is, yo, bro, look, you're going to go practice with all these dudes. I'm practicing with the girls that you're trying to chill with. And then a lot of that happened until our very first competition. Our very first competition, our entire school was there. Like, everyone, they're like, yo, Dave on the cheerleading team, we need to see this. What the fuck is he doing? And then I remember the beginning of our routine, my boy was doing a standing full in the middle. I was doing standing tuck, handspring tuck. And then from there, everyone, oh, shit. Ah. And then people started to get like a new respect for it because it's like, okay, we see why you're here, bro. We get it. You're doing all this flip. You're doing all these flips and, you get to hang out with these girls. Like, it's like a win-win. And at the time, that's all I saw it as. And then when I realized that, oh, I can make money off of this. This is something that, like, can be profitable. Yeah. I started to head in that direction.
This kind of ties into another show that we did, and we talked about how knowledge is power, but knowledge is also money. So people don't realize that, for instance, and I'm just going to use Dylan here. If you want to cut this out, you totally can. But Dylan is amazing at graffiti, and he doesn't realize that that's not something that people just can do.
Right.
You actually have to be able to have some type of artistic talent or have something there to be able to do something like that, or to even have the attention span to be able to work on something like that. That's art. It's
that
not
art is inside you.
Yeah.
That's like
but people don't realize that every area in our lives that people don't realize there's value in, there is fucking absolutely value in. Because you have people like Day. Dude, he came out, he knew what to do, he knew how to work with these kids, he knew what to tell them, and he took something that went from a passion into a profession and started having something that he was passionate about, making him money. Melissa, we spoke to her earlier. She took something that she was passionate about, and she didn't need to change the industry she's in, but she chose passion and still made it profitable.
Yeah.
So there are, like, people will discount themselves so often and not realize that, no, we're not all professionals in certain areas, in certain aspects of our lives. But there is someone out there that's what they spent their life doing. And that's so valuable. And that's what you're paying for. You are paying, when you pay Day, you're not paying him you sit there and babysit your kid for half an hour or an hour. You're paying Day for the knowledge he's gained over his 50 years of life.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
I tell a lot of new clients that I work with, like, you're not just paying for the lesson, you're kind of paying for like a whole complete different experience.
You pay for an education.
I'm gonna find a way to reach you. Like, every athlete is different, and you can't yell at everyone and get that result that you want. You know, every athlete is like a snowflake. They're the same but different.
Yeah.
You know,
You have a way of connecting with the kids. Like, you connect with them on a level where you're like understanding them and like actually listening to the type of person they are and how you're awesome at it.
You can coach at kids and, make their parents' money, but to connect and to coach kids is a skill set.
Yeah, that's where sometimes for some people it could be a little difficult. And I've always found any great coach that I've had, or even still to this day, any great coach that I work with, because I still find myself learning from other coaches still. You know, I've cheered for a very long time, and I've coached dozens of teams and worked with people on all levels, but I'm still able to take a step back and be like, oh, okay, I see what this person is doing, and I can kind of take what they're doing and kind of put my own little twist on it. But you have some people who just feel what they say is law, and that's where I feel like you'll get a big disconnect. Like, for example, I don't want to say what school it is, but I'm working with a school right now. The entire team is having a huge disconnect with their coach because their coach is trying to coach at them instead of trying to understand what they're saying. You know, I remember what it's like to be that age and have to like spend all your time at practice, sacrifice, going to all these parties. You're in high school. That's the time when you want to run around and go crazy. You know, I know what it's like to do that, and I know what it's like to, be dedicated and try to push yourself into getting these skills. And I was blessed enough to have an awesome coach, so I just like to be a coach that I've wanted to have, if that makes any sense.
I feel like that's what makes you a good coach, is you've been on both sides, so you can kind of...
And understand that you've actually inspired other kids. So, like, Aubrey, Alex.
I got a text from Alex's dad a few days ago. I was actually having a bad day. Alex's dad had texted me saying how amazing they did at Worlds, and I literally almost just shed a tear because I remember when this girl barely wanted to do the class, and I'm like, hey, look, like, you have a lot of potential.
I have video of her when Sarah, Alex, and Krista were working on their round bucks, and they set up in a 3. They were supposed to go, Krista and Sarah, and Alex was supposed to go in behind them, and Alex would stop and just keep doing the count.
And it's like to see an athlete and be able to spot the potential and say, hey, look, if you put this work in, I know that you can get to here, is a talent I think I don't want to say master, but I think I've gotten pretty good at.
You've inspired them beyond like just being an athlete. You've inspired them to a level that they're able to communicate with other athletes that are younger than them in a way that guides them, because they know what it's like to be guided and not spoken at.
Yeah.
And that's a true talent. But like, understand your talent's not just stopping at teaching these kids. You're teaching them about how to be a decent person.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a time where cheerleading stops, and you have to actually be a person, Yeah. And I try to let every athlete I work with, I try to give them little things to take away, like to help them be a better person.
But it guides them to be better coaches within themselves too, for these kids, because now you have like Alex and Aubrey who will actually work with the littles. So at this program, they have the older athletes work with the younger ones during the summer, and they pay them. But
I hope so.
they also, but like, these kids go in there, and because they know what it's like to have a coach guide them, they're able to do the same things for these littles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that's one thing I love seeing. Like when I see like the junior coaches in the gym doing that thing, and they're like, oh, like one of I can't remember who it was, but I was at Spirit, and one of the junior coaches came up to me and was like, "Hey, Dave, like I know I wasn't always the best listener, but like these kids are not listening. How do I?"
Karma.
Good full circle. It all comes full circle.
It does.
They're not listening, and I just look and I just laugh, and I'm like, "Hey, like
We're gonna
As a-
throw
you know-
stay out there right now.
that used to be you." But
Treat people the way you want to be treated, because that shit will come right back around.
that is very, very true. That is very, very true. But yeah, I just love seeing it because like I said before, it's not just about what you can do on the mat. It's like what you take away, like not everything. Yes, once you're in cheer, you're probably in it till you die. But at the same time, you're also a person, and yeah, every athlete.
Time out right quick, just to explain this to people that don't understand the cheer industry.
Yes.
It does not stop at a certain age. So my daughter, who is now 16, at 14, was competing on a team with a 45-year-old man. So just so people are aware.
Okay, I gotta
There
jump.
are a lot of adults.
No, that's
like that. It
that's
sounds
weird.
crazy.
Yeah, that sounds wrong.
No, but that's the reality of what the sport is.
Yeah, you can be in it forever.
Now-
I did change it a little bit more recently. So at that time, she was what was considered an open team, and they were allowed to have athletes from, I believe it was 13 up.
Yeah, that you told me about that. That's bizarre when you're like, there's adults playing. But then I thought, you know what?
Open is 18 and over.
Yeah.
It's no longer.
That's-
So like senior teams are up to 18 and open teams are 18 and over. So they did adjust that, but at the time, that was the rule. That was what the fuck are you looking at, bro? Your face turned.
No, I'm looking at
and a half.
looking at this person who's standing behind Jen,
Yeah, there it is.
and I've just noticed that they've been standing there for
The whole
like,
time.
ever. I'm sorry, I was trying not to be obvious.
Bro, how is it? Yo, okay, so we're gonna.
There.
Hey, this is your not obvious.
So Audrey's leaning directly in, like if almost like a fisheye lens.
He was like, what?
Well, 25.
I
20
felt like we were at the bodega looking in that mirror.
What did you say?
25 minutes for day. 25 minutes he checks in. Jen, you want to explain?
All right, it's Harry Styles.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
never seen what he looks like in real life. I just heard of like his songs.
Real life. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's cardboard.
That's cardboard. It's
Okay.
not real Harry Styles. I feel like that would be
Like
weird. The real Harry Styles.
Every episode, somebody finally gets the realization, like, who is over Jen's shoulder?
Like,
Yeah.
At first, I'm like, all right, like maybe she's got people at her house.
But
And I'm
I
just
would
like-
also like to point out how fucking old we all are and refuse to put the glasses on because
Right, like-
glasses would have cleared that.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, that just made me feel old. And even that just made me feel old. And like even when we like we were talking about before, like when we talk about how long I've been working with your daughter and
Yeah.
how long, I'm just like, whoa,
Yeah,
what?
It's crazy.
You know, I
Stuff that's
Anna
happening
is
around
going to
time.
college.
I want to just jump back a sec because something that you said, Audrey, about Dave's coaching. You said you teach the younger ones to be good coaches themselves. But I think something that gets missed, you teach the gift you give them is you teach them to be coaches of themselves.
Yeah.
So you teach them these things. They get on the mat and they say, "Okay, I'm on my own now," and then they do it. And then when they get that magical moment, with like, "Holy shit, I did this!" Like that, when a coach inspires them to do that and to take those chances to actually execute their moves, whatever sport it is, that's a win, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's that's a tribute to yourself and good coaches like you, who do that. And
Thank you. I try, man. I try.
And that's
It's not always easy, but
No,
I
no.
think that when you have a passion for something and you just genuinely love it, like, of course, I love getting paid for what I do, but like, I remember I used to say all the time, like, I would tell the other owner, I would tell the owner of the old gym all the time, like, hey, listen, if I was rich, I'd be here for free, but I'm not. So
Everybody's got to eat, man.
Gotta pay.
yeah,
Everybody's got to eat.
so I need the direct deposit, please.
My car payment's due.
Yeah, I need that.
Well, can you guys talk a little bit about because you mentioned, but I don't know anything about cheer. I thought cheer ended when you graduate high school, and like I only thought cheer was basically your high school football cheer team. But you guys are doing like,
Jay, are you still in high school?
That'd be a little weird.
High schools.
But you're not in high school.
No. So I wish if I would listen. If I think about it sometimes, if I can go back and have all the experience that I have now,
Oh my God.
I would just be a completely different animal.
So Dave could totally sign up for Never Been Kissed.
I'm not sure. I'm familiar with that.
Go back and pretend you're a high schooler.
Oh.
yeah,
There's actually a few people that are doing that. I saw something about some girls basketball team where one of the coaches went in and like signed in as a kid and was like playing at like regionals or something like that.
It reminds me of a competition that my daughter was in where one of the coaches ended up on the mat.
Oh, Barrett.
Yes.
My boy Barrett ended up on the mat. Yes, that's right.
Was as you're watching her compete, I think he forgot that he wasn't coaching and he was competing, because all of a sudden you see him spot a fucking girl doing a full what you are not supposed to do when you're competing. You do not spot.
Help someone. Yeah, let me. Yeah, really quick. Oh my God, that's funny.
Can you guys talk a little about the culture? Because I go to hockey tournaments, I coach hockey, and there's hockey moms, and you go away for the weekend. But Audrey was kind enough to fly my wife and daughter down to the world competition to watch Aubrey not play, but cheer. And they were like, holy shit, there are so many people here. This thing is massive. So can you talk about that world a little?
The best way I could explain it to someone who doesn't know, watch an episode of Dance Moms and multiply it by 5. And multiply it by 5. You get people, because you got to think about it. These are people's kids. They're competing. Who doesn't want to be the greatest? You have tons of gyms. Everyone wants to be number one. And
everyone's child is the best.
Oh my God, yeah.
They are.
Every child is the golden
Every child deserves to be point flyer.
Yeah, they all need to be on top.
Is that point flyers on top?
In the front.
Point flyer in the front, center, everything.
So so what we're discussing right now, for those that have absolutely no clue. So there are within the cheer industry, you have positions, and there are you obviously get like a score. So each team as they compete gets a score, and it's based off of how they compete within certain areas. So you have jump scores. You have
your jump, you have your tumbling, you have your stunting scores, you have
pyramid. Remember?
Scores.
Do you remember when we won best pyramid and the whole pyramid fell?
So there was a season where our girls were like amazing. Like they just kept beating teams.
Well, I like to correct you. I think that every year your girls were amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think every year.
That's how
One thing I can say is that, yeah, kids fool around, but at the same time, they're kids. Yes, it's practice. We got to be serious. But when it came down to it, I can never say that either of them ever slacked,
I want to know, like how many times because I don't know much about cheer, and my girls didn't too, but how many times do girls get thrown? How many times they get dropped? That happen all the time?
Oh, so many.
It happens very often, more than you think.
At one of Kylie's competitions, one of the girls went up, and when she came down, she banged heads with the other girl and cracked her head open. And then her blood was like coming down, and she was in a white uniform, and she was so like dizzy, she walked off the stage. I was just like, oh my God, I hope she's okay. It's scary.
It is
I've
scary.
seen people get hurt. Like some people have. Like this is a It's a sport.
It's a very dangerous sport because you got to think about it. You got people tossing people. You have a person tossing another person up.
Mhm.
You now, as the person in the air, have to trust the people that are throwing you. You have to not only trust the people that are throwing you, you have a job that you have to do to make sure you stay in the air. There's a lot that goes in.
And then you got to come down right, because if you come down wrong, now Kylie's had bruises to her like clavicle, to her side, her arms. She's like gotten just from catching people.
Oh yeah, flyers, bases, anybody stunting will definitely
You'll get like an elbow
depending
to the
on
face.
depending on how you fall. But yeah, I mean, but at the same time, when you're learning all these skills and learning all these stunts and doing all this stuff, not everything is going to be perfect. That's why anytime I've ever stunted with a group, one thing I like to teach is how to fall. You know, that's as you're cheering and tumbling and jumping and doing all this stuff. One thing that I've learned over time is that a lot of coaches don't teach kids how to fall. Yes, you don't want to fall, but the probability, math is math. At some point, you're not going to land every one. You're not going to hit every stuff. At some point, you know, something's going to mess up. Yeah, and if you don't know how to come down the right way or where to fall or where to land or even how to catch someone properly, then it could be very, very dangerous. But to answer your question, I would just say that it happens more often than anyone would want.
Yeah, that's good to know, because I didn't think people fell. That you never see it really, but I guess in practice they probably fall all the time.
That's a
You want to fall at practice. You're going to fall, you fall at practice.
Go on TikTok. All you gotta do is look up cheer fails.
Oh wow! Is it like a spongy floor, like a gymnastic floor? So like, is that how pushing them below? No.
I mean, they aren't spring floor. They're
spring
floor.
Not
when you're falling from like, I don't know, 6 feet in the air sometimes, or 10 feet in the air, depending on how tall your bases are and how tall you are, and especially if I just chucked you up. So sometimes you're falling from pretty high.
Yeah.
So no matter what, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And I do feel bad for all the flyers out there because 90% of the time it's their fault, and it's not always their fault. It's not always their fault. It's just easiest to blame the person up top.
So I just want to put it out there that these kids practice hours on end. And they form these bonds with all of these people, but they also go to school. They also try to be kids. Mm-hmm. And there's just not enough respect given to them as athletes for the amount of work that they put in, because they're not just going to practices. I mean, I had kids that were in the gym 5 days a week. And on the days, and that's just actual like doing work with cheering, but then they were also going on Saturday to open tumbles to work on whatever it is that they were doing. Like they're not just children, because these are athletes. Like they are training to do something and to be better and get on these next levels the following year, while also doing all of this other stuff that's expected of them. Homework, going to school, building these relationships with their friends, and still doing all of this. And I just don't think that enough recognition is given to them.
Oh, no, I agree 100%. They're like, yeah, I work at Spirit still, but there are some times where I'll go to other cheer gyms as well. I can't remember where I was, but I was somewhere, and I had to kind of pull the coach to the side and say, hey, look, like, I get that you want your kids to perform, but at the same time, you got to remember that they're 8.
Yeah, and you forget they're kids, and they need that fun,
like
kid time.
Like, we forget that even at our gym, I remember I had to say the same thing there a few times. Like, look, listen, I know that we're trying to make it down the summit in big competitions, you know. Yeah, the competition, the people we're going up against, there's a lot of people. I remember that year it was like J2 and what was it? Whatever. But either way, you want to make sure that you're at the top. And as a coach, sometimes you can kind of get lost in it. Luckily, I don't think that's ever been me, because I've always been really good at balancing life on and off the mat. And that's one thing I try to push the athletes to is, hey, look, listen, I know you're in here every day, and I know you're trying to push yourself to get that much better, but just remember that, you still want to have some type of pleasure in your life, Make sure that this stays fun to you. There are so many athletes that I've worked with that have had so much potential, but have just been on a wrong team or had to work with
they burn out
a certain coach, and then it's just like you lose the love for it. And it's like, if you are just able to have some fun, but yeah, I try to have fun, but I try to make sure that we're working. If we're not working, then there is no fun.
My daughter lost a lot of that love from
she did.
And I actually had a coach that had her when she was a tiny. Dude, and I remember reading the message that I got and crying, because it was, as my daughter went through this past, she just went through such a change in the past year that she loved it again. And you saw that, and you saw the passion, and you saw the, she had so much fun, and she just loved being with the people she was with and who she was around and who she was with them. And she had lost that. And to have someone reach out and say, it kind of killed me a little bit to see that light dying in her and to see it growing in her again is such an amazing moment for me. And this is someone that coached her when she was fucking this big.
I remember I was literally earlier today, some memories came up, and I'm just like, oh my God, this girl, little twig doing standing tucks, oh my God. There's another video of me telling Sarah, hey, you can't just do I forgot what was that one stretch she would always do. Whatever.
The scale.
Yeah, you can't just do the scale. There's more to flying than the scale. Oh my God. But yeah, one thing that I love, see, when that happens, when an athlete falls out of love, but then falls back in love with it, I feel like when they fall back in love with it, it's like you come
stronger.
You come back so much stronger.
So she went to her first day of practice for this new season was today. That's why we're doing this so late on my head. But I walked in, and last year she was a tumbler. And she loves that because that is the part of the sport that she loves to do. She loves tumbling. But it kind of feels like not as inclusive, because when they're working on stunting, you're not doing anything. So when I pulled up to the gym today and I'm standing there watching them, and all of a sudden they're starting to work on stunts, and I see her moving, and I'm like, she gonna what? Do a fucking tuck or she's basing.
Oh, it is. That's awesome.
Dude, she is basing, and she was fucking killing it, to the point that I had parents coming up to me and going, dude, if that, so I don't know how they knew anyone never done it. So for that, so I wasn't there the whole time. I showed up at the end because but when I got there, I was like, holy shit. And they were like, yeah. And I had parents coming up to me and going, dude, for that being the first time that she's doing this, she is fucking amazing. And I actually want her to work with my daughter.
Hearing that. Yeah. Something like that just has to be amazing. Because one thing that I've, in my personal experience that I've seen, that's not the first time that I've heard of a person who used to fly now base and then just kill it as a base. I get that some flyers may have a little trauma from being in the air. I wouldn't call it trauma, but have a lot of bad experiences being in the air. So who better to help a flyer than an old flyer?
Yeah.
And once you basing is just making sure you have the grips. It's a lot harder to fly than it is to base. When you're a base, you're putting the person up. And normally you'll have two bases. You'll have the main base who will control the main part of the foot, a secondary base who will help the main base control it, and then you'll have a back spot. That'll normally be the taller person in the back. You also have stuff like co-ed stunting where you just have, guy, girl there, toss up, blah, blah, blah. But what we were talking about is from her going to being in the girl in the air, from her being the base, the girl who's lifting and tossing her, catching her, all that other stuff. So I'm really happy for her. Shout out to her for that. Look at her just growing and
like this. Because so to understand the positions, flyers, it is what it is. It's simple fucking math. Like, if you're smaller, you are...
Yeah, if you're smaller...
You're going to be up in the air.
Yeah. So when you're in a sport that goes from 12 to 18, obviously, once you get on the upper end of that, you're no longer the smaller of the athletes on the team. And the teams are created to do what's best for the team and to make the team thrive. But you don't also want to be left out either. So you want to feel, you want to be a part of the team, whether it's in the air, putting the person in the air. These are all components. Like, you can't be in the air by yourself.
Yeah, you need people to put you on.
Every person. And that's done.
Yeah,
in order to
literally it's like when you have a routine, every person is like a cog.
Yeah.
A big machine that keeps everything going. Like the one person, if one person is missing, there's been times where we've had
in your hand.
One person doesn't show up, nothing can go up.
Yeah.
Because now this one person is in this, which this goes to this, and
so now there's
every person is super important in making sure that everything runs smooth.
Do the bases hate the flyers? They look at these prima donnas, they want to just get up there in the air and do the hard work.
Unfortunately, there is a stigma in the industry as though the flyer is the only thing that people pay attention to. Right. But that's not true. Because and especially I feel
like that. I'll let you go.
Yeah. In where she currently is, yes, flyers, they see what's happening, but the whole point of what they're doing is that those 7 stunts that go up are supposed to look like one person. So you're not supposed to see 7 stunts. You're supposed to see 1. And what makes it easy to see something going wrong is when there's 1 that's off. So that 1 out of the 7 that doesn't look like the rest, that's where you're focusing now.
Okay.
So, but that's not the only thing that's part of the scorecard. And that, unfortunately, is the part that a lot of people miss. You will miss winning not just for dropping it or hitting all of your stunts. You have your jump scores. You have your tumbling. Dude, you have people touching down in whatever it is that they're tumbling at. So if you're doing, and I don't care what level you are, you could be doing a back walkover. And if you do not execute the back walkover correctly and end up touching something that you're not supposed to, it's a touchdown. It is a deduction on a scorecard. Guess what? That person wasn't stunting, now were they?
I mean, you're going to deduct for starting in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
You're
just off the line or
there's a world team that
landing
did not get a jump score because they forgot to replace 1 jumper on a team of 38 athletes. Because the person got injured, so they had someone come in and replace that person, and someone forgot that the injured person was in jumps. So they missed 1 person in the jumps. And that's no jump score.
Yeah, that score sheet is one.
Your jump score, what's that worth?
Yeah.
Your jump score, that's a big part. I think it's 25 off the top of my head. The last time, because also at different competitions, I've noticed that judges will do things differently. Like when we went to Summit, I remember the jump score was higher than what it normally was. But even no matter what it is, it's still a numbers game. Like you can have a team that you can see this team perform and see that team perform and say to yourself, hey, they look way better than them, but the team that you might think was better actually not win based off of
because
technical stuff. Like, oh, the number was off. Yeah, what they did was harder, but they didn't do it the right way.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because, like I said, my wife went down to, there was the first competition she's ever seen, and she said Aubrey's team was so good. She's like, but they didn't win. And she's like, they were better than all the other teams. Now, of course, she's biased a little bit, but she's like, no, they were really good, but they didn't win. And then you were, I guess, Audrey, you're telling no, there was deductions taken off that you wouldn't even really notice.
What happened was their actual raw score. So they did not hit their routine. So with their score, so they have a raw score that doesn't reflect what a routine that was performed perfectly would score at. So this is kind of an artificial score, but it kind of gave them an idea of where they would score was a few points higher than second place.
And when she means a few points, it's like a tenth of a point.
Yeah.
No, 2 points.
Oh, 2 whole points?
Because sometimes it's like nothing
sometimes
it's like 0.0
a hit routine.
But you know what I mean, where like score sheet, where we've been competitions together,
barely
been off by like a tenth of a point, and and like,
oh, you can absolutely lose by that little, and that could be something. And then it's so funny because again, everybody wants to look at the stunting as but everybody hit all their stunts. Okay, but where were the arm placements?
Yeah, where were your arms? Did you land properly? Not even did the stunt hit. Did you do the stunt properly with the right technique?
Or this is my favorite one, when people don't actually understand what it is that they're watching, so they won't realize that on a world's team, when you pause in between your jumps, guess what you're doing? Your score's lower.
I am a little jealous of the people who are able to watch a routine and say, wow, this is amazing. Because sometimes I try to do that, but whenever I watch a routine, my brain just automatically goes to, okay, where's here? And then it's that much harder for me to enjoy it, you know?
Did both of their feet come off of the net? Was that a touchdown? Wait a minute, did they go up at the same time?
They bobbled.
That guy bobbled.
Yeah. You start becoming a judge in your head and start doing the score sheet in your head versus enjoying the routine for what it is.
So based off of the number of athletes you have on a team, you have to have a certain number of them doing certain skills. So you can have this amazing routine out there. But if you don't have enough people throwing that level skill in their tumbling,
you're not going to.
That's great. You got an amazing routine that you should have done a level lower.
Yeah, you're not.
You got to watch a nice show. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You hit a level below what you were supposed to.
Now, the one thing that I do enjoy about moms like you guys is that when they're newer moms to the gym, that I feel like a parent who's already been through it is way better than getting through to a mom who's just coming in, who's freaking out. Because when the coach is intimidating, you kind of don't, not saying you don't really believe the coach, but it's just a lot easier to get through, you know, like you've seen this before, you know, you have a kid here. And when you look at someone who's fairly new that doesn't understand it, yeah, those people like you guys are always good to have around.
There would be, for instance, kids complain. They complain about everything. Guess what? They complain about us. You really think they're not going to complain about a competitive sport you put them in? So I would have parents come up to me and be like, oh, my kid keeps on saying this is happening, and they keep getting yelled at for this. And I had a very simple answer. Have you ever stayed at a practice? Just
I remember you used to live in the hallway.
Yes, but this is why I knew this. And they'd be like, no. And this is why I tend to defend the coaches. And I go, do me a favor. Before you say anything, just go to one practice. Just watch one practice.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice.
Yeah.
But the reason behind that is because, dude, these people, these coaches are not out there to start screaming and yelling at your kids and put them down and make them feel bad about themselves. That's not what they're there to do. But as a parent of 7 kids, I know that when you tell someone 20 times, can you please put your foot there? Can you please put your foot there? Do you see that white line right there?
The 21st time, like that.
There. By the 21st time, it's not going to be so, can you please put your foot there? It's going to be, take your shoes off. I'm going to put your shoes right here. Now step in your shoes. That's where you're supposed to be. They're not being mean. Your kid is not fucking understanding what the fuck the white line is.
Or they're not listening because they're talking to each other and they're having fun, having their little bit.
Or they're making TikToks.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, listen. Dave mentioned it before. He said that the cheer moms are like dance moms times 5. So why don't you just share some horror stories about some, without getting specific, just give us some horror stories about some of the moms you've dealt with, or dads,
Wait, I got one, Jay.
Dave's being very diplomatic right there. So
No, I got one. I don't have to bring up a name.
please don't.
No, you know. It's one of those that you know. So sometimes practices run over.
Oh.
And then, we have schedules. We have other children.
Places.
Some of us just do not have the ability to extend our day by 20 minutes because you need to practice 20 more minutes. And there are parents that do not have a problem walking into the gym and going,
yeah, I'm taking my kid.
Practice is over at 6. Let's go. We're leaving right now. Goodbye. Have a nice day.
You're leaving.
You've done that a few times. But I mean, I wouldn't consider that like a horror story. Okay, I would say at my gym in Chappaqua, there was, when I first started working there, oh my goodness, this woman. But you know what's crazy? This lady loves me now. Her daughter was in my class. I always have taught the more advanced class. Whatever class is available, whatever class is the most advanced class, that's normally the class I'm doing. All these girls are doing, this isn't cheer, this is gymnastics, by the way, but whatever, same thing, parents. Her daughter is swinging on the bar, but not even really swinging, just like hanging, and then like, let's go, lands on the softest mat in the world. And I guess when she stood up, like she scratched her foot on something, she hurt her foot somehow. This lady comes down out of nowhere, screaming and yelling in my face, talking about, I do not know what I'm doing. How do they let me coach anywhere? She starts saying all this crazy stuff in my face. And then I just remember trying to be as calm as I could be and just saying, I'm actually overqualified to teach this class. And then just walking away. But that was probably the worst, because in the gym that I'm talking about, we're literally in the bars. We're in the middle of the gym. It was my first or second day working there. And this lady just comes down screaming in my face, like not even trying to talk to me, just yelling. And I'm trying to do everything that I can to be as calm as I can and just kind of laugh it off, even though it wasn't the easiest. Luckily, I think I'm a little witty and was just able to say, hey, I'm actually overqualified to teach this class. And then luckily, one of the managers was there to be like, yeah, this guy's right, blah, blah, blah. But that's probably my worst experience. Now, other coaches, I've seen other coaches get yelled at and just start crying. I've seen people call some coaches out of their name. I've just always been blessed to have a relationship and have a certain level of respect for everyone I work with and every parent that I encounter, that whatever it is, we can communicate this before it escalates to whatever issue. If I'm having a problem, I have no issue letting you know what my problem is in a respectable way. And I try to open the door to make it known that, hey, if you don't like what I'm doing, let me know. Because if you don't let me know, one, I'm probably going to keep doing it. And two, how are we ever going to fix anything? So I've been blessed in that manner. Like, I know some coaches who have a hard time getting through the kids. I've seen some moms curse some coaches out and then walk by me and give me a hug and a kiss. And then I'm standing there like, I mean, I'm sorry that she just yelled at you, but yeah, she's kind of cool. So I luckily haven't had any. I've actually had like amazing stories with parents. Like, I was blessed enough to stay at Audrey's amazing house in Florida. I've had a mom offer to pay my rent for a month, which was kind of weird. I definitely took it. I'm not going to tell you who, but I definitely took it.
You get hit on? You get hit on by moms?
That happens often. I don't mind it. You know, sometimes I'm a little flirty too. So, you know, I try to not overstep any lines that would get in the way of anything in the future. You know, like, let's just say I'm not gonna be too friendly with the mom of a star athlete. You know what I mean? Like, that's just too much. But
Wait,
you know,
so if the athlete
every mom I've ever worked with has been amazing. I do lessons with some moms.
Girl, it's okay.
Wait, hold on. You guys, they didn't catch that, but you do lessons with the moms? They get out on the mat?
There are a few moms that I do lessons with their daughter and them.
What?
Yeah.
All right, Audrey and Jen, you guys, there you go.
Yes, you guys are up next. You guys are up next.
We're coming.
You guys are up next.
Have you ever had any dads try to like strong arm you? You know, like, hey, my kid's a better spot.
I've had.
We get you.
Okay. This dad actually he was so honest, he made me feel a little uncomfortable. So his daughter was a bigger girl. And I was the only one at the gym that was ever willing to spot her or help her with anything. And I remember she's going for, I think, a round off handspring or a round off tuck, something where she's doing a cartwheel where she lands with 2 feet and then jumping up, and she's either doing a flip with hands or without hands. But either way, she's a bigger girl. And I remember the entire year I would spot her, and the dad was like, look, I don't know how you're doing this. Like, I can't even pick my daughter up. Shout outs to you, man. Like, I'm so happy you're here because there's no way I could pick. And just like, not like bashing her, but like reminding me that she's overweight. And I'm just like, okay, that's not what I would expect to hear, but thank you, I think.
Yeah.
You know? But
Dude, either you told me the story, I was there. Because I know exactly.
I think I was talking about this in Florida.
Yes.
Are you outside? Oh, no, you're not outside.
She's messing with her filter, her background filters.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Look,
but
it's
I have been blessed to every parent that I've worked with. Yeah, they've all been super dope. Occasionally you get an asshole here and there, but I haven't come across too much of those.
Well, I feel like you come across them every day in life, every now and then. Like, you can't really
definitely
escape
come
them.
across them every day. But at the same time, you got to think about it. Like, these people are coming to me to help their child. The last thing you want to do is be a dick to that person.
yeah.
You know? So most of the time, super, super cool.
Have you ever had
always get more with honey than you do
Oh, no, 100%. 100%.
Have you ever had a parent where you're like, I just can't work with you and your kid? It's just, I can't do it. Sorry.
Oh, actually, I just had to tell a woman today that I think that her child would be better working with a different coach because I enjoy working on getting skills. I love seeing athletes progress. Yes, I know there's a time to play and there's a time to work, but if you're always playing and not trying to work, then at some point I feel like not only is it a waste of my time, but you start wasting your money. Now, if you want to just give me money, I will never argue with that. But if your end goal is to get from here to here, and I don't feel that whatever I'm doing is really working, I will definitely let you know, hey, look, unfortunately, I don't think I'm able to get through to so-and-so. I would recommend coach blah, 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 because they're great.
Gotcha.
And then if I see the kid as a problem, that's me passing them off to somebody else. But if that child actually, we are having some type of disconnect, then, but I rarely have disconnects. I'm normally able to get through to any athlete.
Well, you're super chill and mellow, and you'll actually talk to them. Because I actually remember when Aubrey was younger, there was something going on where something was just not like connecting for her. And you just sat down with her. Like you just stopped what you were doing.
Sometimes you gotta talk to people like
and you were like, dude, what's going on?
Well, you gotta
and that's because you had to change the you had to change her perspective on the way that she was approaching what you guys were working on. And I don't even remember what skill it was. I want to say that it was the tuck. But because she wasn't pulling.
She was, I remember that. Oh man, that's like more than 10 years ago.
That's crazy.
Oh my God, that's so sick.
You said that, and I'm like, oh wait, I vaguely remember this. That was oh my God. But yes, because these kids are young, and when you're young and you have your mind set on something, when it doesn't happen, when you want it to happen, when you don't get that instant gratification, and especially at this level, a lot of these athletes will start beating themselves up.
Yeah.
You get, I don't like to say the word mental block because I feel like those don't really exist. If you told yourself you can't do something, you can tell yourself you can do something. Yep. That's like pretty much what I tell every kid that comes to me with that. But, you don't want to beat yourself up over something. Then it becomes not fun. If you're not having fun with what you're doing, then
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And like you said before, with Audrey, like I hate when kids are, I don't want to say pushed too hard, but when they get pushed in the wrong direction and then start to lose the love for the sport.
Yeah.
Because when you lose the love for it, then it's just like.
And you see it in their faces.
You see it in their face. You see it when they're on the mat. It's just a chore. They're not putting as much as they can get it as putting in all their effort into it. That's actually how more injuries happen, if anything.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's how she kept on breaking shit.
Yeah. I remember that time when there was a period where she was just constantly getting hurt. I remember.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes, that was.
She kept pulling.
You're not trusting yourself. You're
Yeah.
not trusting and just having faith in that you can do it.
Well, you lose your confidence.
Once you lose your confidence, then there's actually, hey, listen, if you need anyone to help you build your confidence, I can actually do that too. There's athletes. There are 3 athletes that I work with, and all we do is things to make us feel better. Like we jump strong, we do big jumps, we do a few sit-ups, we work out a little bit, but I try to show them that, hey, look, like even though you're not the most athletic in your class or in your grade or whatever, you can still do some cool stuff and you can still have fun. And just because you're not good at this thing over here, so what? You can totally be good at this other thing over here. And even if you're not good at something, you can still have fun doing it.
Just keep trying different things. Eventually something will like stick and you'll find like what your thing is. We all have our thing. Like everyone has this thing that they kind of excel at, and that's their like You know, that's what.
Yeah, no, I'm like, some days I look at it and I'm like, wow, I wonder where I'd be if I didn't sprain my ankle in ninth grade.
Eighth grade.
Isn't that
Eighth
crazy
grade.
when you start thinking of like the what could have been?
Because in
No,
my
but you
mind,
can't live in that.
No,
oh
but
no, I laugh at that. I laugh at
No,
that.
it's
I'm
just
like, wow, like, lucky me. Look what I stumbled into. That day was crazy.
Coach Day is now a coach of gymnastics, cheerleading,
and now
doing a
like golf.
job, and
Yeah.
and
Need someone to just help you get through life, man.
and if you need to do a TikTok,
Oh yeah, I'm there.
do you remember the gym one you did where you had all of the kids whipping and nay?
Oh
Huh.
yes, that was epic. That is when open gym became a thing. Like, I remember all those. It became like oh man, you had to.
He had this whole
It
video
will come
made.
in because we come in, we do all these like little dance challenges, stuff like that. But at the same time, people would be like learning skills. So it's like we're having fun and we're also getting better. And who knows? I think not a lot of people know how to have more fun than I do once I start the ball rolling. And yeah, the kids just feed off my energy. And then, yeah, that was a time. That was a time.
They can also kill rats for you too if you need them.
Yeah. If you need me, I got you. I'll go
Not
get
if
you.
it crawls.
As long as you live down the street.
Yeah. Don't listen.
Don't forget, you got to be down the street.
You gotta be on this block, maybe one street over.
Hey,
Baby.
41.
hey, Dave, what's your rule for life, man? Real quick.
My rule for life is don't be sorry, be better, man.
I like
Why be
We
sorry?
love that.
You can be better. You know, I know I'm not perfect, but whatever I can fix, I'll fix as best as I can. You know, and I just try to keep pushing and thriving to be the best me I can. As corny as that sounds, but
No, that's
Nah, it's not
Very
corny.
corny, though.
that is not corny at all. I think it's
yeah.
and to be you.
And just always be yourself. Don't
Yeah.
one thing. I've actually talked to my girlfriend about this. Like, wherever I go, I am always gonna be me.
You're
I might
authentic.
not. I might not. Yeah. I might. I might not. Curse as much, or I might word things differently. But I'm always going to be myself. My moral compass will never shift for anyone. And I think as long as you do that, and if you can be honest with yourself, then for the most part, you should be all right. But yeah.
That's pretty good, man.
That is, love it.
Thank you.
So we're going to wrap it there because I have a flight in like a few hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for bringing the energy at 1 o'clock in the morning, man. This is
Hey, man, I probably
I
know,
it's-
It's the best.
Try to get the energy up.
no. We've spoken to people at 11 o'clock in the morning, and it's like snooze fest. So I appreciate
Oh my god, yeah.
bringing
No,
energy.
I feel like it's a lot of who you're with, too. I know this might be like our first time meeting Tom, but you're pretty dope.
No, you were cool at the party, man. You brought the heat at Audrey's party. I remember.
Oh,
We're all
I do remember you at the party.
Yeah, there you go.
I do remember you.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
We were on the phone in Florida. You said the party, and yes, I remember.
Yes.
Dude, when we were on the phone in Florida, the funniest moment in that entire thing
Uh-oh, here we go.
was as we're speaking to Tommy on speaker, Day goes, bro, I feel like I'm listening to your podcast.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
God.
Yo, I know this voice.
Yeah.
that's funny.
Now you're on it.
Here. I
Yeah.
remember her like, oh, I gotta get you on.
And now here you are.
Here we go.
We made it.
So,
So we don't have to worry about that guy from next door telling us to shut the hell up and get back inside.
That's true.
So for anyone that wants to reach out to you to schedule any privates or kind of like
I would say email me at smithdaqwan@gmail, SMITHDAQWAN@gmail.com. Or if you want to find me on Instagram, it's my day, ITZMYDAY. Had to think about that for a second. And yeah, I'm around. Or find out how to contact Audrey and she can definitely find me.
we can definitely direct you today.
Of course. I'm all for it. Always.
Thank you
looking
so
for
much.
people to work.
It's always
Thank
a good
you.
time talking
Thank you,
today.
and I'm happy I'm able to I can't wait to listen to this. I listened to the episode. I think my favorite. I have a few favorite episodes. I like the lady who came in, who wrote the book, who was saying
The vagina buck.
No. That lady, the ins and outs of my vagina. That was the first one. No, but this woman was talking about how like she fucking came from shit. I cried. Like it's sad.
That was like
Yeah.
a one.
Nothing.
That was an emotional one.
When she was in her car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one? There was a dude from Jersey, I think.
Richie Bohan.
Hot.
Bro.
Hot.
The guy from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we got some
like Otto.
we got some really good ones coming at you, including this one that people are gonna like to hear.
Oh,
So we got-
listen, hey, I'm not being able to be a part of the lunch, you know?
Yeah.
Anytime Audrey needs me, or Jen, I'm always there, you know? If I'm one call away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dad.
Well,
Yeah.
anytime. I hope you have a safe flight. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I hope your day is
Oh,
amazing as
hey, we're gonna do the thing at my house. Remember the thing?
with the fucking
Yes,
Yes.
spin around.
I remember that.
Giant dodgeball game. But
What
don't.
is this? What is
We
that?
got-
Oh, I see hand
Oh.
signals. What is that?
I am gonna clear my calendar for that.
Dave, thank you for coming on, man. It was really cool.
Okay.
Anytime, man. Thank you for having me. You guys have a great night, and let me know when this drops. I can't wait to hear it.
We'll do. Absolutely.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye. Be safe.
Aw.
1, 2, 3, 42.
Rule 42 is hosted by Audrey Cruz and Jen Burke. It is produced and edited by Tom Smith. The opening song is Rule 42 by Eddie Carr. Rule 42's artwork was created by Aubrey Cruz. And I'm your announcer, Molly Smith. Thank you for listening to Rule 42. We hope you enjoyed the show. New episodes premiere every Thursday on all podcast platforms. Please subscribe, share the show, and leave us a 5-star review at Apple.